Hello and welcome. Campbell here from Autodidactic Channel. Hope you're having a fantastic day. And today we're going to have a look at a construction that seems to have no story to how it was actually built. It just kind of appeared. Of course, they always give us a narrative, but when we look, to check that narrative and see the facts that are behind it, there's really nothing there. So let's get in and have a look. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the sanctuary of Los Lajas. I think that's how you say it. And this is in Colombia, Central America, and it has quite an interesting story, and it is quite an amazing building. So we'll get into the pictures in a minute, but some backstory of this is the sanctuary of La Lajas, or in full, the Sanctuary of Our Lady of the Holy Rosary of La Lajas, is a Roman Catholic minor basilica located within the canyon of Guaytara River in Ipiales, Narijo in Colombia. And this shrine, as they call it, is dedicated to the Blessed Virgin Mary. And the construction that is there at the moment, the main construction, they're telling us was built between 1916 and 1949. And the background of this basilica or shrine is that it says back in 1576, there was a lady and she was walking along with her daughter who happened to be deaf and mute. They were caught in a big storm, and so they ran to the cliff to get shelter between some large slabs of stone, which in Colombian is Lajas, which is where the name comes from. And when they were in seeking shelter, to the mother's surprise, her daughter Rosa exclaimed that the mestiza is calling me. And a mestiza is a person of mixed European and indigenous non-European ancestry in the former Spanish Empire. So basically, a Caucasian type person was calling her, and she pointed to a silhouette which happened to just be illuminated by a strike of lightning when they were looking at it. And the apparition of the Virgin Mary was on the wall. And this instigated a pilgrimage to the site after the story got out, and people would go there and pray. And there are reports of miraculous healing happening there. The image appeared in the stone several feet inside, and the image is still visible today. So that's the story as to why this place became a holy place, a place of pilgrimage, and ultimately why they built quite a few different constructions there and ending up in this amazing basilica. So the existence of the shrine, it says, was recorded between 1756 and 1784. The first shrine was built here in the middle 18th century from straw and wood, they say, and it was replaced with a 7-meter long brick chapel around 1795. And then from 1802, a new larger shrine was built, which in turn was then extended and connected to the opposite side of the canyon on which the basilica sat. And it was replaced with a 7-meter brick-long chapel around 1795. And from 1802 onwards, larger shrines were built there, which were extended into a bridge which actually spanned the canyon where the basilica stood. And in the second half of the 19th century, the story goes that it was turned into the bridge that we see today. So the current church was built between 1916 and 1949, or so they say. It was funded with donations from local churchgoers, and it rises 100 meters or 330 feet from the bottom of the canyon and is connected to the opposite side by a 50-meter or 160-foot tall bridge. Now, what I find interesting about this particular basilica, apart from the fact that it is just incredible, right? That the place where it's built on the side of a canyon, literally they've had to build the foundations all the way down the canyon because it sticks out of the cliff. And then they've built this bridge. Now they say that it was first, the apparition was first seen in the 1500s, but like I said, this basilica is quite amazing construction. It was built between January 1916 and August 1949. So obviously we had photography. Photography was, almost 100 years old when it started being built, and we also had film. We had movies that they could have recorded this as well. But when we go ahead and look or search even for any construction pictures or even construction information, there seems to be nothing at all. I've searched, I've done quite a bit of looking to try and find anything on the construction of this, and there's nothing. When we go to images, all we get is modern day images. They all look like they've been taken in the last 20 years or so. There's lots of them, but there is absolutely no construction photos at all. Now, this is an amazing, amazing building. I can find the architect, but there's nothing. No one wanted to record this being built. It was a holy place that was built, for the Blessed Mary, right? A healing place, they say, where she appeared to a deaf mute girl in a lightning strike. But there's no records of it being built. I've looked up for, where the materials came from, where did all the stone come from, where did all the skilled artisans and craftsmen come from, and there's nothing. And as far as paying for it, all we get is that it was paid for by the local parishioners. So it's a very, interesting story they are trying to weave here. So the only picture I've been able to find was on this website, and this has a bit of the history, the mainstream narrative of this basilica, and the appearance of Mary, the Virgin Mary, and all this kind of stuff. And down here, we get an image, and here it is. And this looks like a photo, but it's not. Underneath it says, "This drawing shows how it would have looked," talking about one of the previous constructions on this site. It says the process took 7 years and resulted in a domed structure of stone and lime measuring 7 meters long and 6 meters wide. And this is what the artist has drawn. And that's all it is an artist's depiction. Here's a bigger image, and as you can see, it's a nice drawing. We've got this domed, like it's described, a domed little temple or church tucked into the mountainside. Of course, this one again is up on, poles, big columns sticking out of the side. So if this was built at all, it would have been a hard construction as well. And they just kind of gloss over it and say, oh, well, they built this little domed chapel sticking out of the cliff, and that's really all we get. And not one photo, not one image on any kind of video or film, just this pencil drawing, which is an artist's impression here. So this is Lajas Bridge construction. Now, if I just put in here, say 1940, which is while it was being constructed, right? Again, there is nothing. There's nothing at all to show this building being constructed or even in any form of construction. We don't get any pictures where it's half built or almost built or anything. It's basically, we get like this picture here. This is public domain, Lajas image. There's nothing there. Like, what is this? Like, there's nothing at all. So the question is, how old is this actual building? Because we know the story. These people who create narratives for us and try and hide our true history are always making up stories how things are all modern, but they can never explain how they were constructed or who constructed them or even where the materials came from. So I did find The architect, or the so-called architect, his name is Lucindo Espinosa. And all I've been able to find, as you can see, this is a search for him. There's one photo. That's it. We get this other photo that they say is someone of the same name, but this is clearly a different person. So this is it. This is all we get on the architect. If we go to an actual search, there's nothing here. There's a few things in Spanish. I have had a look at some of them, but there's no information. There's nothing there. They've just given us a name of an architect, but there is nothing at all to back it up. So again, the question is, who built this place and when? All right, so let's go and have a look at some pictures of this basilica. And as you can see, this they call it a Gothic revival, right? And we hear this all the time. Everything's a revival, right? Everyone's just copying off everyone else. Okay, so for starters, if you'll see up in the background here, look at this wall coming down here. Okay, this of course isn't mentioned in any of the stories, but as you can see, this is a sectioned wall, and this bit here looks quite castle-esque, right? Big wall coming down the side here, a massive plateau again with this old world banister and balustrade, right? What we're told is Greco-Romano. So this is in Colombia, Central America. But we have Greco-Romano here, we have Gothic here. So this has got nothing to do with the region or the religion which they claim it has to do with. And of course, this looks like it could be in any European city. Okay, we have the same features everywhere. All this antiquitech, the big spires up to the top there, the arched windows, the big cymatic rose windows here in the cathedrals, the flying buttresses, all this stuff. And look at this, it's perched way up on a cliff going across this huge canyon with a river below, right? So this is not an easy construction. This would be, a very hard construction for them to do today if they could pull it off. But we're told, they just, they built it between 1918, 1949, but they just forgot to take any photos of the construction or film or let us know who built it or, where really the money came from, because all we get told is it was donated by parishioners. Now, how much do you think it would cost to build a structure like this? Right? Now, let's have a look at the interior. Okay, again, this look at these windows. This is what we see in cathedrals everywhere. And this one, look at the cymatic ceilings in here. And of course, these are called vaulted ceilings, as in vaults, as in electricity, right? Of course, they change the spelling, but the word is the same. The spell is the same. Now, this is the basilica at night, obviously, all lit up. But again, just to sort of show you what's in the background. See these walls? All built in with these arches, okay? This is the kind of stuff we see everywhere, right, when we look into the old world. Just the similar features. It's all built the same way. It all has the same look. It's all the same. Like I said before, you could pick this up and put it in a European city or Australia or America, and it would not look out of place. Look at this massive, rose window at the front, this big cymatic pattern. It's the same stuff that we see everywhere. Here is an interior photo again, and just look at the workmanship that's gone into this building. Again, it's the same old story, right? Everything is perfect. Everything is so symmetrical. Everything is done to perfection, and all the same type of construction, the same features, even the same shapes in the windows, right? This rounded cross shape. We see it everywhere. Like these long, pointy arched windows that are filled with stained glass. It's the same stuff. And of course, they tell us this is this way because it was a Gothic revival, right? They were reviving the Gothic architecture. So, question number one is why would they do that? What's that got to do with Christianity, with the Blessed Mary or the Virgin Mother, or Colombia? Like, what has it got to do with any of that? I mean, basically nothing, right? This is one of the back rooms. Of course, we have Jesus here on the wall, and we have this old stonework. And again, like everything, right? You can see they've taken, chamfered the edge off this, which we see everywhere, and even this bottom one, how they sort of bring it back out. That feature you see everywhere on these old world buildings. So there's something else going on here. I personally don't believe the story they're giving us of the construction of this building. And here we can see one of the main chapels, and at the back here you can see this is rock. This is the natural rock, and this it's not the best pixel, sorry. That's apparently the image that appeared to the deaf blind girl back in the 1500s. And that's the reason for this whole construction, or so they say. Here are some more pictures. And I mean, this place is just crazy, right? Again, here you can see built into the rock, into the natural rock, which again, we see this everywhere, right? You can see this bit of the ceiling, it's literally coming down and joining the rock here. But they haven't missed a beat. Everything is still perfectly symmetrical. I mean, look at this. Just this bit here. See how it twists? All right, it's got this slight twist to it as it comes up, but perfectly symmetrical. Now, that is not easy to do. And we have a little bridge here coming across into like a little rock platform up here. So this has literally been built into the cliff. And, keeping in mind, this whole construction is like 100 meters from the base of the ravine, the base of the canyon. So the question is, how old is this place? What do you think? Do you believe this was built last century? They do say, at least they give it a good building time, right? At least, they give it sort of 35 years to be built, which, makes sense, more sense than the buildings they tell us took 1 year. But I mean, this really is a feat of engineering. This looks, I think this picture is just showing us different urns and things, where they're putting the ashes of people past. And this sort of shows us the scale. Okay, look how far down this bridge support and the base of this cathedral basilica goes. Like there is literally probably twice the amount of materials gone into this bridge and the basement as there has into the actual basilica. All right, just to build this platform that it's sitting on is a much bigger effort than building the basilica itself. And again, when we look into the background, like this is all stonework going up the hill, right? Which of course isn't even mentioned in the story. They just kind of say, oh yeah, they built it because there was a vision, and of course, they had to build this amazing Gothic revival cathedral. And so everyone, the parishioners, just put in their money, and then next thing you know, they've got the most amazing building, the most unexplained architecture pretty much in the realm, but no construction photos, no construction information, one picture of the guy who they said was the architect. Okay, you would think that they would, after building something like this, or while they were building it, that they would be much prouder of it, right? They would want to document this. They would want to, show the world what they had done. But no, nothing at all. I'm just looking at this. Is that another cave entrance, another entrance into the cliff? What's inside this cliff? Was there more here? Because this bit here definitely looks like some kind of, it could have easily been a foundation, right? This big, perfectly flat area. And what's the point of it? Like, why is it so big? All they needed was just a walkway. So, if it's not hard enough to build this, they did this as well, flattened this big area on the side of a cliff. Again, not easy to do. Here's another angle. All right, so this, like it's literally built down in this ravine. It's crazy. So please, leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this. What do you think? When do you think it was built? Who do you think built it? Why do you think it's there? Who do you think made up the story? And why are there no photos? Because I did actually go to the Colombian site and looked into their archives. Nothing. I went to Wayback Machine, nothing. I went to Gallica.fr, which is a site that holds a lot of ancient books and pictures and maps and things, nothing. So there's literally nothing on this place apart from these pictures, which I said before, all look like they've been taken in the last 20 or 30 years. Right? So was it actually maybe found, in the year 1918 and cleaned up over 35 years? And then by the 50s, it was done. And I mean, even in the 50s, no photos were taken, right? It's really up only into modern day, modern times, where we start to get these images come out. I mean, I don't know if this is original or new, but you can see this viewing balcony here. Like there's so much more construction here than just this basilica. And like I said, this basilica, it's crazy. Look at all the antiquitech here. Look on the top of the roof here. All these spires covered in these bits that we see everywhere, these shapes and logos and the fencing and you know of course the cross, right? But all these similar features, not similar but exact same features really, that we see everywhere. And of course statues, they tell us these are angels, and anything with a wing is an angel and got to do with Christianity, so they tell us. But is that true? And this is interesting. We can see houses up here on the cliff. All right, look at this construction. Okay, these are brick. That's a brick wall or a masonry wall. These all are made out of brick or stone. All right, but you can see the kind of construction that they're getting done. Completely different from this. Completely different. Right, and these are probably newer. So it's this story again of, well, they just built it and it was amazing. It was all for the glory of God. But when we see what's actually built around it, doesn't look like they had the skill set to do this. Here's another shot. And there's not too much more I can say, right? It's just, this is an old world, whatever you want to call it, Tartarian, old world building, cathedral. To me, this is a machine. And it's interesting that it's perched up on a cliff above a river, because there's always water involved, right? Dude, get your mask off. Breathe. These angels, these statues, obviously they're all playing. Is that guy got a saxophone? Jeez, man, that's a cool angel band. Now, I'm not sure how old these are, but no doubt they would say that they're from the construction period. But how similar are these types of statues to the ones that we see in all the old the World's Fairs photos? Right? It's the same. It's the same thing. And not to mention, they didn't tell us who the sculptors were, who made all this stuff, who did all the finishing on this building. They just give us one name as an architect, which they always do. Here's another shot. So this is the original image that apparently appeared in the 1500s in a flash of lightning, don't you know? And they've obviously built, this on it later to highlight it, but that's on the rock, right? This is, well, I don't know if it's natural rock, but this is rock. But I mean, I'm just looking now. Look at these lines here. Look at that bit there. How it sort of pokes up into here. I mean, does that remind you of anything? I mean, we see this in megalithic construction, right? These weird angles and how bits just pop in, like down here, this cutout. So was there something here already that they built onto? I mean, look at this. These look like blocks. There's too many straight lines. This does not look natural, really, does it? Was there a bit of melting going on at one point and they've come in and rebuilt onto it? Or is it, some other type of construction? Is there more in the cliff, that we're not allowed to see? I don't know. These are all questions. But this is looking like a good place to go and do some boots on the ground, right? Maybe I'll have to do a tour to Central America. So there you go, guys. Just a short one. Just wanted to show you this. It's a bit short because there is not a lot of information on this. Just the same story repeated over and over on multiple sites, but nothing to back that story up. So again, leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts. And also, while you're at it, please give me a like, subscribe if you like my content, and share it around. Let's get these questions out. Let's get let's get the general populace questioning their history that they're given, because this is the thing with history. When you don't question it, it kind of makes sense. But as soon as you start looking into it, it all falls apart. So let's start to get this narrative out there. It's 2024. The world is changing. I won't say waking up, but people are definitely raising their awareness to the realm that they find themselves in. So information like this can help people just, to ask better questions. And that's really what this is all about. So thank you for spending some time with me. I really do appreciate it. Have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.
Remember, in the end, nobody wins unless everybody wins. Come on!